Hey, what if I told you that AI actually doesn't think but predict the next word so well that it feels like intelligence? Right now, the tool I'm gonna show you is being used to understand the research paper, summarize the entire book, and build AI prototype in minutes without writing complex code. In this video, I will break down how AI actually works using Google Notebook LLM in a way that finally makes sense without jargon and no hype. And I promise if you stay till the end, you will understand not just how AI responds, but why it responds the way it does. That's the difference between actually using the AI and mastering it.
Okay, so AI, we hear about it all the time, right? But how does it actually work? What's really going on under the hood? Let's dive in and break it all down. So, what's the first thing you picture? For most of us, it's something straight out of a movie, right? A robot with a thinking, feeling brain, consciousness. But is that what's really happening? Well, the reality is a lot less Hollywood and a lot more math.
But here's the secret. It's actually way simpler than that. At the end of the day, it really just comes down to three things: math, which provides the rules, a whole lot of data, and the goal of finding patterns in that data. Seriously, that's it. That's the secret sauce for everything we're about to talk about.
All right, first things first. We've got to ditch that idea of a robot brain. And maybe the best way to do that is to compare how an AI learns to something we all get, how a little kid learns. Think about it. A kid learns what a cat or a dog is by seeing them over and over. You point and say, look, a doggy, or that's a kitty, and through all that experience, their brain starts to connect the dots. Well, an AI does something kind of similar, but just on an absolutely massive scale. It's not learning from experience in the same way, it's just being fed millions, literally millions of labeled pictures until it can statistically figure out the difference.
Okay, so the AI has its giant library of data. But how does it actually read it? What are the rules? Well, that's where the magic of finding patterns comes in.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the process is so literal. When we show an AI thousands of cat pictures, it's not thinking, oh, that's cute, or that's a feline. Nope, it's just spotting patterns in the pixels. It sees the triangle shape of ears, the straight lines of whiskers, the curve of a tail. That's it. It's just pure, cold statistical correlation.
And this right here is the key thing to remember. The AI has absolutely zero clue what a cat actually is. It doesn't know they purr, it doesn't know they chase laser pointers. All it knows is that when these specific visual patterns show up together, there's a super high chance the right label is cat.
So how does it actually find those patterns? Well, it uses a tool called an algorithm. I know, that word sounds super technical and intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple.
Think of an algorithm as just a recipe, a set of step-by-step instructions. So for our cat detector, the recipe might be something like, Step 1, look for two pointy shapes at the top. Step 2, look for a bunch of thin lines coming out from the middle. It's just a mathematical recipe for finding things that look like a cat.
All right, so our AI has its recipe, the algorithm, and its ingredients, the data. But how does it get good at it? How does it go from making a bunch of mistakes to being super accurate? Well, that happens through a process we call training.
This training loop is basically how it works. The AI takes a guess. If it gets it wrong, like say it calls a fox a cat, the engineers don't scold it, they just feed that mistake back into the system. The algorithm then gets a tiny little adjustment, and then it tries again. It's just this constant cycle of guess, check, adjust, repeat, but like millions and millions of times. And when you make that training loop happen automatically over and over again, that's what we call machine learning. The machine is literally learning from all the new data it sees, constantly tweaking its own recipe without a person having to go in and manually rewrite the code for every little mistake.
You actually see this in action every single day. The YouTube recommendation engine, that is a perfect textbook example of machine learning. It watches what you watch, it spots the patterns in your viewing habits, and then it uses all that data to predict what other videos you'll probably want to click on. It's learning from you in real time.
Okay, let's level up. If basic machine learning is like grade school for an AI, what we're about to talk about now, this is like its university education. This is what makes AI start to feel, well, really smart.
This is called deep learning, and it actually takes its inspiration from the best pattern matcher in the known universe, our own brains. It uses these really complex structures called neural networks. You can picture them as layers of algorithms, where each layer looks for more and more complex patterns, from simple lines and colors at the bottom, all the way up to recognizing a whole face at the top.
And it's this layered, brain-inspired structure that unlocks all the crazy, impressive stuff AI can do now. Face ID on your phone? That's a neural network. Asking your smart speaker a question? Neural network. Real-time translation apps, or even AI that generates text and images? You guessed it, all powered by neural networks. Now, one very specific and super popular type of deep learning is what's behind chatbots like ChatGPT. These are called large language models, or LLMs for short, and they are basically neural networks that have been trained on, well, pretty much the entire internet, books, articles, websites, conversations, an unimaginable amount of human text.
So how in the world does an LLM write a sentence? Again, it's not thinking, it's predicting. It has analyzed so much text that it's learned the statistical probability of which word is most likely to come next. So if you type "thank you," its data says that "you're welcome" is a super high probability response. It's just playing a very advanced game of what word comes next. Which brings us to probably the single most important point of this whole breakdown. We have to be really clear about what AI is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't. So let's just get this straight. AI does not think. It doesn't have emotions. It can't feel happy or sad. It has no personal opinions, no beliefs of its own, and it absolutely, positively does not have consciousness. It's a tool, an incredibly powerful one for sure, but it is not a mind.
See, it all comes back to these two simple things. Every amazing, mind-blowing thing AI does, whether it's helping doctors diagnose diseases or composing music, it all boils down to just two core abilities: finding patterns in data and then using those patterns to make a prediction. That's the whole game. It just does it at a scale and a speed we humans can't even comprehend. You know, an AI is never going to just wake up one morning and decide to invent a new gadget or pursue a passion project. It's an instrument. It just sits there and waits for us to give it instructions. We have to give it a very clear goal, like translate this sentence, or find all the pictures of dogs, or recommend a good sci-fi movie. It only acts when we tell it to.
Look, if you walk away remembering just one thing from all of this, let it be this sentence right here. This is the simple, unvarnished truth of how AI works today. It is a data-driven prediction engine.
So, okay, we've established that AI doesn't think, it predicts. But that leaves us with a pretty wild question to chew on, doesn't it? As these prediction machines get better and better, what happens when their predictions become so good that they're basically indistinguishable from our own thoughts? What does that even mean? Yeah, something to think about.
Okay, now here is the real question. If AI can read, reason, and respond based on patterns, what happens when you actually start controlling those patterns? That's exactly what I help you learn on this channel. Breaking down AI, data, and emerging tech into simple and practical skills that you actually can use in your daily life. So, hurry up, comment below and tell me, do you want a step-by-step tutorial on how to build small AI projects using tools like Notebook LLM, even if you are a beginner? And if your goal is to stay future ready, think smarter with AI, and build real understanding instead of just using the tools blindly, then hey, you are in the right place. So stop scrolling, subscribe to this channel, because the next video might change how you see AI forever. So please, let's aim for at least 1000 likes on this video, which actually motivates me to create the next such interesting video on AI. Thank you so much.